Hi, everybody. David Noor. I want to welcome you back to another episode, new season of The Intelligent Growth. My partner, Jen Cords. Hello, Jen.
Hi, Nor. How are you?
Great, thanks. For our audience, if you missed the previous episode, with the new season, we wanted to mix things up. So, new format. We're going to try to go tight. We often coach clients that there's value in brevity. So, we're going to try to shrink the traditional hour approach to 30 minutes. Full disclosure, it's a little more challenging for me than it is Jen, because I like to make sure you understand, you get value. Make sure you get value from these sessions, but we're going to keep it tight. Number two, we've started something called 5 and 10. So each week, Jen and I see different client situations, and we work with a very broad spectrum of audiences around their growth strategies, their digital strategies. We're right. We speak. This is now the sales kickoff season, so we're out and traveling and working with a lot of different clients. So we'll cover kind of 5 topics in 10 minutes that we think will be of interest and value to you. We want to make sure they're practical, pragmatic takeaways. So we'll do that. And then we'll double down on a topic. And for this episode, we want to talk about the Consumer Electronics Show. If you haven't heard of the CES, it is the definitive, and we'll talk more about this, gathering of technology innovation. And it isn't just for consumer electronics. Several years ago, I took several clients and their boards to this event, and it's just a drinking from the fire hose of all that tech does in every aspect of our lives. So let's go ahead and get started with the 5 and 10. So Jen, I'm going to start with you. What one goal helped you become the best version of yourself this week?
Thanks. So last week I brought up the time blocking, and this week I actually took my time blocking and then did an exercise called Stop, Start, Continue. And basically it's evaluating all the things that you are doing, and should you stop doing them, continue doing them, or is there something missing within your schedule that you should start doing? So that's what I incorporated into my week last week, just to evaluate if I was spending my time on the most productive things. What about you?
Love that. On that productivity, I think most of us, mine is, I wrote a quote down here just to remind me, every hour of every day matters, don't waste it. I don't think any of us set out intentionally to waste time. I think we get distracted. I think we get distracted by demands of others, and you got to feel guilty for saying no. But that's exactly the discipline it takes to stay focused on your priorities and the things you need to get done. I think most of us want to give, most of us want to help, most of us want to contribute, most of us want to collaborate. I get all kinds of asks of, hey, can you spend 5 minutes or this or 10 minutes on that? And it may not seem that big of a deal, 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there. But what happens is they add up. And next thing you know, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock rolls around. And you're like, what did I get done today? So really being intentional about where you invest your time and effort. So the next question, what are you most excited about this week ahead?
So we internally have been working on a lot of our processes, and it's just really exciting for me to see that foundation that we've been working on for a while, and the cleanup that we did over the holidays really take shape, and the teams really start digging in and using some of the tools and technology, you included. The dashboards that we worked on yesterday, I love that you love them and that you're using them. So that's what I'm really excited about.
For our audience, that's code for I'm getting my act together, actually using some of the technology we've been paying for, and
embracing the technology.
That's right. I was talking to an executive yesterday. He made a great comment of how many people are 150% in on the tech and 5% in on using it. So we buy a lot of really interesting, cool technology. We pay for them, and they sit there, and they're as useful as you having a coat in the closet and it's 20 plus degrees outside and you don't wear it, right? So having these assets alone won't suffice. You need to really embrace, and again, small behavior changes is where the impact's going to come from. I'm excited to get back on the road. This is the SKO season. I'm actually in Connecticut this week, working with a couple clients, and the travel starts, Phoenix, Scottsdale area. I think I'm scheduled to go to Las Vegas 6-8 times this year already So it's exciting to kind of get back out there. I love the sales kickoff season. I typically do 8 to 10 each month or so in the beginning of the year. Some clients whose fiscal year is not their calendar year, their kickoff may be mid-year, but it's a fantastic time to kind of get the team back together, not just re-energize them, excite them. And just as a reminder for our audience, especially those who are meeting owners, motivation is intrinsic. We can all inspire people, but that motivation has to come from within them. So I've got a lot of friends who are inspirational and love their message, and I feel excited when I'm in the room, and 20 minutes later, I can't tell you what that message was about. So make sure you stay focused on outcomes and impact, not just output. Next question. What are you most concerned about in the week ahead?
So one of the things that we've seen over several years, but it's become more prolific in the last year or so with the advent of AI becoming more generally available, is senseless automation or over engineering their solutions. They being clients and customers, they are trying to do too much with their technology and they don't quite understand it, or they're patchworking their solutions together and there's not a clear-cut strategy. And then you create overlaps or silos, and it becomes this really knotted digital mess. And so that's one of the things that I'm continued to be concerned about.
I commented on Randy Seidel is the founder of the sales community. He had a great post, and I commented on something that said, you know, I believe particularly sales has become over, and John Barrows of JB Sales, great sales trainer, talks about this as well. Of sales processes have become over engineered, over complicated, and by the way, enterprise clients don't want to talk to 8 different BDRs and SDRs and junior AEs and assistant pencil pusher of something before they talk to a business professional that can solve their problems. So really simplifying. We gotta go back to elevating the business acumen of our internal teams and having them be able to intelligently ask great questions. They're not gonna have the seasoning. They're not gonna have the background. I'm a realist, but they can ask great questions and they can learn. And let's talk on a regular basis with lunch and learns internally on what's working for you and what's not. That's how we raise the bar in the team to really engage in a much more meaningful way with every interaction. Mine is seeing professionals on that note trying to wing it. I believe the more tenured we become, the more seasoned we become, the more we see the same movie over and over again, the perception becomes, oh, I can just show up and wing it. And that, you may have heard me talk about this, that's when a 2x4 starts coming your way with a rusted nail in it. So it is the definition of a professional to prepare. It is the hallmark of a professional to make sure you're the agenda setter, right? It is the sign of, I'm committed to this. I'm writing a post. You're gonna love the title. You ready? You're going to love the title. Your lack of commitment is an insult to the people who believe in you. Conor McGregor said that. And you don't have to be an ultimate fighting expert to believe that. Your lack of commitment is an insult to people who believe in you. And when you wing it, you're insulting those that believe the best version of you. So just food for thought as we go through this next week. One new tool or platform you're exploring.
How about you start this one?
Oh, I love this one. So Journey. I believe it's Journey.io. Yeah, Journey.io. So one of the challenges is you want to tell a story, yet the way to do that today is we share presentations, we share documents, we send PDFs over the wall, and what they don't have is a context. And what I love about Journey.io, and by the way, we don't have any financial interest in any of this, we're just tools that we use that we think are valuable, is that they allow you to curate a journey. So I've got one where there's an intro video. As you can see from this session, I'm very shy, I'm very introverted, right? So I use a video to kind of introduce the concept. Then there's a presentation. Then there's a document to look at, or maybe a spreadsheet to look at. And there's a calendar. I've left to schedule a time to answer any questions you may have after you've looked at this. What a fantastic way to get a story across versus just tossing more over the wall. How about you?
So for me, it's a tool called Braze, Braze, and it's braze.com. And it is a cross-modal communication experience platform. So basically, it's similar to what you're talking about, where you have multiple mediums within a single communication, a video and then a document, and then you can book time. This is actually orchestrating responsiveness to somebody click something on the website and then they get an email or they see something on social, and creating a unified journey through all of that that can be set from a company's perspective to guide someone through that versus just having them willy-nilly click through the website or a whole bunch of assets. And so it creates a better user experience. And because I love it, because it actually goes across different mediums, whereas a lot of technologies require you to do part of it here and then you have to jump to another one. This one actually puts it all into one platform, where then you can have end-to-end tracking and understanding of where are people falling off, where are they really engaged. If I took them to a PDF, but then they clicked on something else, where did they go? Maybe why did they go there? And then you can adjust the journey to be more impactful to the people who are consuming it.
So, for our audience, if you missed any of this, we'll share these insights in our private online community called the Avnir Forum. So, if you just go to forum.avnir, avnir.com, forum.avnir.com, or avnir.com resources. If you just click in the navigation resources, you'll get there. We post each of these, 5 and 10 every week, and all the links and all that stuff is there. Last question: what one podcast? Last time I brought a book. You wanted a podcast this time. What podcast would you recommend our audience to look into?
Yeah, so one that I love, and they're short little episodes. It's called The Burn with Ben Newman. He is a performance coach that works with athletes and teams and just really high performing, top of their industry type people, like the Alabama football team. And he does that performance coaching. But what he talks about in The Burn is that internal motivator and that drive, it's the why behind you, why you do what you do. And he just brings on some really interesting guests to talk about sort of what gets them up in the day and what drives their passion and what drives them to be as good as they are. And so it's just a really interesting podcast. And like I said, they're short, they're not long. It's like 30 minutes. And he's just has some really, really interesting guests. What about you?
Mine is, I love that. I've got to definitely check it out. Mine is the Harvard Business Review does one called IdeaCast, and it is a weekly podcast that really features leading thinkers in business management. I've got a Siberian Husky, as you know, and I take him for walks. Most mornings that's not frozen tundra outside, even though he likes it. But
I
it's
was
a
gonna say
fantastic.
that's perfect weather for him.
Yeah, huskies love when it's like 40 degrees below zero. But I listen to it, and it really gives me the insights. And then full disclosure for the audience, and I would encourage you this, especially with podcasts that make you think. Certainly listen to it as one way. I get a lot more out of when I capture notes. So I come back from my walks, and I quickly jot down what are the gists. They also have the show notes on their sites that are really good reminders. I may look up the guest that they may have, an author of a book or somebody who's written an article. And so HBR IdeaCast is really well done. And I love podcasts that really make me think, and I really want them to be the center of the plate. Then they kind of build around the plate with different ideas. So that's my recommendation. So that's been, look at this, barely over. So we're gonna even tighten it up more next week, but just that's been a little bit on what we call 5 questions that Jen and I yin and yang in 10 minutes. So 5 and 10, you'll look at those. You'll see those, forum.avnir.com. So moving on to our double down this week, it really is the Consumer Electronics Show. So, and what we want to talk about is why CES should matter to every growth-minded leader. So, Jen, let's start with what is the CES?
So the CES is put on by the Consumer Technology Association, which is actually celebrating its 100th year this year. But CES has been around since 1967, and it is the preeminent conference for innovation, and all of the manufacturers and vendors and even technologists come with their latest greatest, the things that they've been having in R&D, and they get to show it off. And it's where other people, business professionals or just enthusiasts, can go and see and play and touch all of this breaking technology.
It's also what I appreciate, again, is the trends. They kind of show not just some futuristic, possibilities. So one of the first times I saw drones that could carry humans was at CES, and then several months later, I actually saw a pilot of it in Dubai, where autonomously, right, a gentleman was picked up from a roof of a building and with a drone and put in a plaza. So the trends that are really impactful, and then when everyday personalities show up, it's becoming, getting democratized, right? When Lester Holt on NBC News is talking about Chat GPT, it becomes prevalent. When Martha Stewart shows up in the Samsung, booth and starts to share kind of her take on what these devices can do for her business, it really helps you get a glimpse into what's happening. So the couple of things I want to highlight is generational impact. The audience needs to hear this. I don't know of a business that doesn't need net new business, doesn't need fresh customers, doesn't need to consistently think about that next generation. So generationally, I struggle in painting them with a very broad brush, but you cannot ignore 70 million potential consumers, and for leaders, members of your workforce that are between 11 and 26 years old. By the way, 86%, right, say tech is critical kind of to their lives, to their success, to what they do and how they do it. And by the way, they're much more likely to invest in personal tech, and they want to use that tech in their world, in their kind of everyday work. Jen, comments on Gen Z?
Yeah, this generation also is digital native. So they grew up with technology. They're not the generation that remembers phones that were attached to the wall with a cord and things like that. This generation is going to be the generation that is more apt to adopt the VR, the virtual reality type technologies, and they're pushing for that, and they want it integrated into their lives in such a way that it's meaningful and provides a deeper, richer experience for them.
So that's a critical one, and you see them there. You see products that are built very specifically for them. They're much more likely to adopt net new technologies. So that's a big reason. If generational impact is important to your business as a leader, understanding their likes, their dislikes, their taste, their preferences, their prejudice, right? What will they not use, especially if your product or service really looks at behavior changes. CES is a really good place to be. Next, really this idea of digital infrastructure, because we believe it's accelerating at a record pace. So if you look at next G in terms of connectivity, if you look at IoT and edge, if you look at Li-Fi, if you look at digital utilities, AI and robotics, cloud, cybersecurity, these are all starting to really build this infrastructure ecosystem, and they're becoming heavily reliant on each other. As one technology evolves, look at what we can do with our connectivity now. I can live stream, I can send bigger files, I can live stream much more real content. Obviously, I can get data from multiple data sources, and the ripple effect of digital infrastructure permeates through every business, every industry. If you think of, as bizarrely, the agriculture, imagine now not just a tractor, but an autonomous tractor. Not just an autonomous tractor, but a tractor that talks to sensors that gather how much rain is in the soil, and seeding systems, and a farm management system that is all run by the cloud. That is a very different business model and an evolution of that industry than, let's just put some seeds in the ground, water them, and see what comes out. Jen, comments on digital infrastructure?
Yeah, I think on this slide, the term that most people may not be familiar with is actually Li-Fi. And just a quick click on that, Li-Fi is actually light frequency technology. So it's transferring data and packets of information over light waves instead of wireless internet waves, and it actually can send data about 100 times faster than what Wi-Fi today can do. And so that's probably the term on this that's most unfamiliar to people, but it's really exciting to see the various innovations that people are having with the different radio waves. Is how it started, now it's wireless, and now we're moving towards light. All of those have different applications, and seeing them work together in a cohesive environment is really exciting.
I can't wait to learn more about each of these. And again, they're all evolving at an accelerated pace. We want to keep the pace moving. So the challenge for a lot of leaders becomes a balancing act of how much do I invest in tech advancements, and that balancing act. And we think this is really important. What do consumers value? What do consumers demand? What do they feel is a necessity in their life? Balancing that with your stewardship and obligation to intelligently, productively, efficiently grow the enterprise, and really drive real innovation, not innovation for sake of innovation, not innovation theater, not innovation as respectfully lipstick on a pig and somebody's initiative that just will not go away. Hey, let's just slap innovation on it and we can fund more of it. But how do we balance kind of how do we drive and grow the enterprise with the finicky, with the ever evolving, ever changing demands of the consumers? Jen, comment on this?
Well, on this, it also comes down to the business outcomes that you're trying to achieve, and then also maintaining a level of commitment to the data privacy and control and like the concerns of the consumer, and ensuring that the innovation that you're implementing continues to be ethical and follows along with the same business principles that you've established long ago and that the customers and the consumers are expecting from your company.
So for every leader, I want to now show you some examples. One of the things that we've observed from CES this year is industry boundaries are blurring again at an accelerated pace. This is a camper by LG, right? You don't typically think of LG. I mean, sure, monitors, maybe air conditioning units, but again, you don't necessarily think of them as in that camping outdoor world. Their perception is why not? If we understand digital as well as we do, why couldn't we create a really rich digital experience for those that increasingly are looking for that love of nature and the getting outdoors? How about solar panels on your rooftop tents on top of the vehicle? So I want increasingly more. Again, I've got my devices with me. I'm gonna go middle of nowhere where there's not a power plug. So then, how do I run? If I want to run my phone, or if I want to run a digital coffee maker or any of those things, I'm going to need access to renewable energy. So I can't exactly put up a wind, a mill on my camping trip. What about solar?
Well, and the solar also goes to this upcoming generation's drive towards more green energies and not relying necessarily on needing a generator or gas powered anything. They're really wanting to try and leverage those renewable sources.
Next, here's an interesting one. How about this is a fascinating one. A moss terrarium doubling as an air purifier and humidifier. So I don't know about you. If it's dry, I wake up with dry mouth and it's just really uncomfortable, and you always are worried about what's in the air that I'm breathing in. And a friend of ours just caught RSV for 3 weeks that knocked them out, and he's like, don't recommend it to anybody. So our health, but using nature, and this company is called Moss Air, that uses it's a Korean company that uses that plant hydration for filtering, for again humidifying the air around us. And I thought that was fascinating. Moving on to digitalization of our lifestyle. So again, I don't know how many of you have four-legged friends, but they become not just the love of our lives. This is Samsung's Ballie, Ballie. They first brought this thing out in 2020. but it's a bowling ball sized robot. You see it on the right hand side in yellow, that is eager to entertain our pets, to kind of play with them, to kind of show them different experiences they project on different surfaces. And I don't know about your dog. My dog likes to pounce on things. And right, if it's a floor, a rug, or a tile or floor area, this thing can keep that dog entertained for hours. So that's one interesting example. You found another fascinating one that uses biometrics for a lock.
Yeah, just it's leveraging the same technology that the Apple iPhone uses to have the facial recognition unlock capabilities on your phone, but now you can actually implement it like a Ring device on your doors at home, and you can have certain biometric scans of people who are able to access your house in a really secure way. I also found there's a padlock system that also leverages fingerprint capabilities, and that too, just like the unlocks on like your Mac device, your Touch ID, you can use your fingerprints, or anybody, you can program in certain number of people's fingerprints to be able to unlock the device. They use traditional keys as well, just as a backup, but I just thought it was a really interesting, secure way to secure both your house and then any other belongings that you use with locks.
This company is called Lockley Visage, Visage, and it's fascinating that it works with Apple Home Key and your Apple Watch. So those are, again, you can start to see the integration of our lifestyle. And the reason we also believe these are important is that it brings basically what we do as consumers, what and how we interact with these things to our offices. So wait, you want me to use a key to open a door? Why can't I just use what I do at Clear at airports, or my again, my face as my unique ID when I come into my office? So imagine these things spilling kind of into the B2B world. Another fascinating one we found that's really interesting is a gyro gear gyro glove. This is fascinating because it stabilizes. If you think of patients, and if you've been around them, it's heartbreaking. If they have Parkinson's, it stabilizes their movements. It really allows, because it's very difficult for someone with Parkinson's to eat or kind of take care of themselves, whereas this will start to stabilize and they can much more effectively again take care of themselves. Imagine this in a B2B environment where it stabilizes kind of what people do, and again, extending their value at work, extending their ability to kind of contribute. So we saw a lot of these lifestyle opportunities. Jen, here's a fascinating one: a mirror that picks up your vital signs.
Yeah, so this is extending the wearable technologies that have been incorporated into Apple Watches, or I wear Garmin watches, and it picks up on just the health characteristics that it's looking for, changes in moisture in your skin and your heart rate and those sort of vitals that people aren't necessarily paying attention to. And it almost democratizes healthcare because it is that early warning sign that something may be wrong. And with the rising healthcare costs, and it's hard to get an appointment scheduled, and your lives are so busy, taking an hour, 2 hours, however long it takes out of your day to go visit a doctor on a regular basis, having something like this at least gives you some of those precursor checks that, I mean, a doctor is still absolutely necessary, but this is just a way to kind of keep your finger on that pulse a little bit better and be informed when there's a change that maybe you should dig deeper into.
Again, a company called Nura, Nura Logix, Logix, makes this Anura magic mirror. And again, fascinating that blood pressure, heart rate, stress level can all be picked up by this. And again, can't wait to see mental health. Can't wait to see the vital signs on your phone's camera kind of helping with this. Next is really intelligent hubs. We believe intelligent hubs are going to come all around us. So this is again, imagine a smart home kind of command center, onboard cameras, e-commerce platforms. Why do I have to go to multiple devices to get things done? Now, again, I want you to think of bringing this from our homes into the office. What if these TVs were in the lobby or throughout our building. What a fantastic, again, way to bring folks back into an office environment if it becomes a lot easier for me to get my work done throughout the day while I'm there. The other challenge or opportunity we see is enterprise value from ecosystems. So for far too long, I've been just thinking about, and I know a lot of other people have, some days I need a two-passenger car. Other days, gorgeous in Atlanta, I want to put the top down and wish I had a convertible. Other days, I need a pickup truck. So why can't my car be a platform? That's exactly what Kia's doing with their platform beyond vehicles, PBV. Imagine a vehicle frame that is right upgradable, changeable, modular, and one platform can serve a lot of different purposes. So I'm fascinated by this idea, and I can't wait to see where this goes. But it also is really talking about, and Jen brought this up, AI. Jen, you want to talk about really this ecosystem?
Yeah, so the AI ecosystem, AI has been around for a really long time. And with the advent of ChatGPT and Bard, it's really become more commonplace and everybody's using it in their day-to-day lives. And the AI ecosystem is now incorporating it from the chips and sensors that we do to the cloud networks to creating virtual realities of ourselves. So the digital twins, it is a digital version of you that has the same sort of personality and characteristics, and it actually can give someone that in-person experience, but it's just in your digital form. And then it's extending beyond to robotics to help do some of those day-to-day monotonous type experiences that could be done either faster or they're not value add. And so it's allowing the human capital to be spent on more intrinsic, detailed value creation instead of that monotonous day to day. So the AI ecosystem is really just tying all the pieces together, and it's that work-life blending. It's the digital and in-person type blending as well, and it's just going to get better and faster as we move forward.
We're on our way to wrapping this up strong. So within that same ecosystem, you see interactive transportation, transparent windows. You see Kia talk about a purpose-built vehicle. One of our favorites, Honda, the Moto Compacto. I just like saying that. But imagine a rectangular box, fairly light, that has it has pedals, it has a seat, it has a handle. Jen, what did you say? 15 miles an hour or 12?
Yeah, it goes 12 to 15 miles an hour. It's a battery powered charger, and it compacts down into that box that's about 4 inches wide, and I think it was 20 inches long, or 20 inches tall and 40 inches long. And so it's small, and it weighs about 40 pounds. And so it can fit in the back of most vehicles. You can carry it. It's conveniently stored in your office. And so it's a really interesting way to create an electronic bike.
I can't wait to tell the audience I'm on my Honda Moto Compacto doing this session. So I love saying that. It also CES is fascinating in that it addresses a lot of our things that we feel secure around. So there's a lot of ag tech, ag food tech, this idea of smart communities. I did a session for I did a keynote engagement for a group of city mayors, and I equated Atlanta and Barcelona, roughly the same size. Barcelona has not only 90 miles more of rapid rail, but sensors in the ground that allows cars to charge and where the available parking spots are. Sensors in our trash and recycling bins so the pickup trucks know where to go and where they can bypass, makes them much more efficient. And of course, fintech, every aspect of our financial transactions moving in that direction. So in terms of key takeaways and recommendations, we believe every business, if not every business model, is or soon will be under attack. So really important to kind of think about your business model today, and how do you ensure you're identifying those early signals. Real innovation versus innovation theater. Real innovation is for paying customers. Real innovation is doing things differently. Real innovation is not just incrementalism, but really challenging the status quo, the assumptions, the assertions. Innovation theater is, well, we've been doing the same thing. Let's just call it something else, right? B2C, we believe, sets the B2B expectations, forces B2B adoption. If I can order for something from Amazon this morning and get it delivered this afternoon, what do you mean it's going to take you 3 weeks to get that part in on the business side? So it's going to force a lot of these things at CES, force B2B adoption very quickly. Iteration is doing the same thing better. Innovation is doing new things. Disruption is doing new things that makes the old obsolete. It is a stair step. Iterate enough, you'll uncover opportunities to innovate. Innovate enough, you'll stumble onto opportunities to disrupt. But you have to think of this in a stair step. Cool hunters, we've done this with a couple clients. Take that next generation and allow them to identify net new growth, net new innovation, net new opportunities. It amplifies your culture's curiosity. I wonder what we could do with a drone in our business. I wonder what we could do with a smart TV, or what we could do with some of these technologies. How could we use renewable energy? Sustainability, as we'll talk about, cannot longer be ignored. So how do we incorporate some of these technologies and really improve the lives and work of our team, of our colleagues? Culture of experimentation. We believe it's very difficult to do that in the traditional construct of most companies. How do we get it outside of those constraints to really create a sandbox engine that does things differently? Faint signals and strategic relationships as signal scouts. You cannot keep up with all of these things, including all of CES, by yourself. How do you develop relationships across your value chain to bring those interesting ideas back to you? Proactively seeking co-creation opportunities. The days of any of us walking into any room with all the answers are over. How do we co-create net new growth and opportunities with even some of the most unlikely potential partnerships? Last but not least, what is your AI agenda? Every organization needs an AI agenda. There might be a hype cycle right now, but we don't believe AI, generative AI, various applications of AI, products, services, predictive capabilities are going to go away. Jen, your comments on the key takeaways?
I would just say that if you are not incorporating any of these into your business strategy today, I would choose one or two, especially the iteration and amplifying your next generation of leaders. Get them involved in the planning process. Maybe ask those questions. Have an open forum where you can just have ideas, and it's just an idea generation period. And then the AI agenda, to David's point, is very important. It's going to continue to proliferate all the tools that you're leveraging in your business on the day-to-day. And it's only going to get smarter. And if you don't have an AI agenda, the industry is going to set it for you, or you're going to become obsolete. And so I would just make that a priority in 2024. And then related to CES, again, David mentioned that you can't keep up with all of CES, and maybe it's not directly impacting your business today, but knowing about these trends and just setting a reminder for yourself. Every January, CES happens. And so maybe have a Google alert that tells you the most interesting insights that came out of CES, or follow some of these business pages so that you can be informed about it. And then when something sparks your interest, you can then dig in.
So we ran it just a little bit over, but we hope this has been useful to you. We hope this has been of value to you. Again, our goal with these are practical, pragmatic, useful in how you lead, how you drive intelligent growth in your business. Quick reminder, again, avneer.forum or forum.avneer.com is where you'll find the list of what we've shared. We'll also put a copy of that presentation there for you if you want to learn about, including names of those companies, if you want to learn more about any of them. On behalf of Jen Cords, I'm David Noor. This has been another episode of Intelligent Growth, why every leader really needs to pay attention, needs to amplify, needs to understand the innovation that comes out of the Consumer Electronics Show, CES. We'll see you next time. We've got some great episodes coming, so check us out each Tuesday at noon Eastern. That's it for now. Make it a great week. Thanks, everybody.